Good morning, everyone. The time being 9 a.m. We'll call the meeting to order. And point 2 on the agenda, before we adopt the agenda, I'm going to be making an amendment to the agenda. We'll be removing item 13.6. It's on the second page. So yep, 13.6, just be deleting that. So you have the agenda in front of you. Other than the amendment, any other amendments before we adopt the agenda? Seeing none, looking for a motion to adopt the amended agenda as presented. Karen.
That the amended agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Now that we have the adopted agenda, looking if there's any declaration of conflict of interest on the agenda today. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have a delegation this morning that we'll be getting to very shortly. Jenna Hutton, who will be online, and Evan Hunchak, who's in the gallery right now, and it'll be an in-camera session. So we've got the meeting minutes from April 28th. That was in your package. Any amendments to the minutes? Looking for a motion to adopt the amendment. Tim.
That the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 28th, 2026 be approved as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And we have the draft public hearing minutes, the first one from April 28th meeting. Again, they were in the package. Carmen.
That the minutes of the public hearing meeting held on April 28th, 2026 be approved as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And the last public meeting minutes from April 29th, again, they were in the package. Looking for a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Stephen.
That we acknowledge the minutes of the information public meeting held on April 29th, 2026 regarding the proposed Bridlewood additional service area.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we'll be moving into our delegation. Looking for a motion to go in camera. Tim.
Make a motion to go into camera.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we've got 10 minutes before we get to our public hearing. So get down to, oh, sorry. Yeah, we're down to you, Sarah, list of accounts.
So in the other payment section, number 107 to the Minister of Finance, this is our April 2026 education property tax remittance. And then on the credit card payment report, we have a few communication project items, so the annual survey prizes and the promotional materials, and that's within the $8,000 budget for this year.
Okay, motion to accounts, Darren.
That the list of accounts consisting of check number 5828 to 5834, other payments 106 to 110, credit card payments number 8, and proposed EFT payments totaling $115,603.91 be approved for payment.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Everybody's quiet today. All in favor? Motion is carried. Bank reconciliations.
So you might notice that it's a little bit shorter this month with the number of reconciliations on there. So during the month of April, we consolidated our 4 cash accounts with TD into our 1 operating account. We were achieving the same rate of return on all of our accounts. Therefore, for ease of cash flow management, we are simplifying our banking by having all our funds in just the 1 account. In terms of the bank rec, there's no unusual reconciling items, just the routine outstanding deposits and outstanding checks. And there is 1 long outstanding check that will go stale dated in the month of May if not cashed. And we've been following up with the recipient to cash the check.
Okay, motion to acknowledge the bank reconciliations as presented. Karen,
That the April 2026 bank reconciliations be acknowledged as presented.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And financial report.
Okay, so just some financial highlights from April. On the revenue side, we remitted the WCRM 158 connection fees for the 21 residential lots. So we remitted the $307,000 to the authority. And then we had cash interest on cash and investment accounts of $16,000. On the expense side, we paid $22,000 for the CSO vehicle outfitting deposit. We had drainage contract work of $54,000. And the next progress payment on the Balgoni Waterline project for $158,000. We continue to track over budget items on the expense side. The only new item for the month of April was the drainage contract work that's now $38,000 over budget. So there was more work required than originally budgeted due to the quick spring thaw. But this overage will be managed through the transportation operating budget and funded through the general revenue. And then looking at the equipment and machinery repairs, it totaled $130,000 out of $300,000 budget at the end of April, which is about 43%. This is slightly above expectations of 33% for 4 out of 12 months. And then on the statement of financial position side, we continue to have a healthy cash position. We collected another 22% of the municipal taxes receivable, and our utility receivable and other AR has decreased month over month due to collection of the utility billing for Q1.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to acknowledge so we can discuss. Nicole,
That the statement of financial activities and statement of financial position for April 2026 be accepted as presented.
thank you. Questions, discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. Got 7 minutes. We could do the water report.
Absolutely. Yep. So this is the April water report. Report does note quite a few maintenance activities during the period, as well as 1 water main break. So this is a water main break that occurred on Old Dudney, which was right in front of Rancherlo. So this is actually a spot that had been previously repaired, and the repair clamp was actually the piece that failed. So that was excavated and repaired fairly quickly once they got to it.
Thank you. Motion to acknowledge the water report is presented. Stephen,
That we accept the April 2026 water report as presented, with it noted that no upset conditions occurred during this period.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Do the line painting tender.
Sounds good. So we did tender line painting for the RM. So this is for our paved surfaces within the municipality. The majority are within Emerald Park, but also our access roads too. So this was tendered in April, closed at the end of the month. We had 4 bidders submit pricing, and although the lowest bid was provided by Prairie Land Sweeping and Line Painting, their means and methods of applying the lines, which they've done for us previously, we found to be inconsistent. They use a push machine, so it's basically human powered. But the industry standard for line painting is typically a pull behind machine that's truck mounted. It's what Ministry of Highways uses, what most major contractors use. So while it is more money to go with the next lowest bid, they do use machinery that provides a bit more consistent line as well as more consistent glass bead application. So our recommendation is to award to Line West for $44,000 plus taxes. Again, it does fit within the budget, the projected budget, because our budget includes line painting for the roads as well as our crosswalk painting, which is currently out for tender right now.
Thank you. Looking for a motion so we can discuss. Darren.
That we accept the tender bid price from Line West Contractors Limited for $44,169.76 plus taxes for tender RM 158-2026-05 to perform the line painting on all our surfaced roads for the 2026 season.
Thank you. Discussions on the motion?
Yeah, I probably ask it every year, but because I know normally a few years back we used to do it every second year, and do you really feel that it's needed to do it with all the stuff technology that they've got and everything? Can they not last 2 years?
So we didn't do a lot of research into this last year on different paint styles and what that does for year over year. We have found that if it is, there's areas that we've missed for 1 year. The line is mostly gone the next time we go to do it. So we haven't performed a real price comparison on paint that lasts multi-years. We are doing that for our crosswalks this year, I guess, for one thing. We're going to a kind of a thermoplastic paint for the crosswalks. So that is intended to last 7 years or longer, depending on how much traffic is going over top of it. So I guess we're starting to look at some alternatives for line painting for some of our crosswalk work. Haven't done that for the line painting for this year and didn't price that into the 2026 budget when we were going through that process in kind of November, December.
One of the
think we
things
had-
I'll add to that, Tim, is my husband was with a paving company for a while. And part of when they removed the lead from the paint, it really did a bit of a disservice in terms of now it was all about environmental stuff, but because the removal of that lead reduced the longevity, therefore it has to, you're basically going out far faster or far sooner than you otherwise would. So environmentally, you're kind of net zero, I guess.
Again, because I know in the past, and I didn't know about the lead thing, but of course they've got to have to put in new rules, and it just costs us extra $44,000 every year. So,
Nicole, you had
Scraping the roads doesn't help either every second day in the winter.
other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we've got 1 minute till we'll move into public hearings. Okay, it's 10 a.m. We'll move into the public hearing portion of our meeting. Our first one is bylaw 2026-10, zoning map bylaw amendment for block par A, E, and F, Southwest 291717 west of the 2nd. Do we have any written submissions?
No.
Thanks. Any verbal submissions on bylaw 2026-10? None noted. Looking for a motion to acknowledge no written, no verbal. Tim,
Yeah, make a motion. We acknowledge no written and no verbal on bylaw number, where are we?
2026-10.
2026-10.
Okay, any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Down to the next public notice is bylaw number 2026-15, zoning map bylaw amendment block par A, Southwest 271917 west of the 2nd. Any written submissions?
No.
No. Any verbal submissions for bylaw 2026-15? Okay, motion to acknowledge no written, no verbal for 2026-15. Karen,
If there's no written or no verbal on the for 2026, which one was it? 2020? 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion's carried. And final one is for bylaw number 2026-16, zoning map bylaw amendment for block par B, section 231717 west of the 2nd. Any written submissions?
No.
Any verbal submissions on bylaw 2026-16? Motion to acknowledge no written, no verbal. Carmen,
I motion that we acknowledge no written, no verbal on bylaw 2026-16.
thank you. Questions on the motion, comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we'll move out of our public notice portion or public hearing portion of the meeting and get down to the engineering and public works report. Clark.
All right, well, this report was prepared about 3 days after our last council meeting, so you'd think there wouldn't be much to report, but I'm going to talk for a while. So spring road bans have been lifted. However, we are on secondary weights now. So we have been dealing with some transportation companies and whatnot, kind of asking the question and wondering what they're supposed to be doing right now. So working through that with road data. We also took a look at that shingle site on 624 North, and last Friday kind of reworked and repacked that site. So hopefully bringing that back to what it's supposed to be. In Emerald Park, we started tree and branch cleanup, removing all the pavement markers, kind of all the spring cleanup stuff that we're starting. Put the tennis and pickleball nets in. And then this week we started with our street sweeping. So we rented our unit and they've been out yesterday and today so far. Yard waste bins, those started today. They're running till May 24th. Bins will be picked up on the 25th. So that last Saturday and Sunday should be still available for everyone to get their yard waste into the bins. In terms of the water system, so we've had supply well number one, the pump has failed. So we're working through our engineers and hydrogeologists right now to select and source a new pump for that. So we still have 2 of 3 operational, which is what we need. We don't need a third for operational. It's just for redundancy, just in case we need to make repairs and that sort of thing. So this was a pump that was put in 2011, so 15 years old. So it's near kind of the time we would replace it normally. But we've also been undergoing a lot of maintenance of our supply lines. So we've went and uncovered all the valves, all the air release valves. We've operated them, and through that we found that we had one valve that was throttling flow from our water supply system. So now that that's fully opened, we found that we've increased the amount of water coming into the water treatment plant by over 30%. So we've decreased the time that it takes to fill the reservoirs from 9 hours down to about 6 hours. So we've seen a sharp increase in the amount of water that we can supply to our treatment system now. Talked about the water report. Not much else on there. And that's kind of it for, again, about 2 days worth of work.
There's a hydrant on New Bay that needs to be fixed. Do we know about that one or when that will be fixed?
Well, we have to rip it apart to see what's actually wrong with it, but it's not operational right now, so we'll have to rip it apart and see what's going on. We were going to order some more hydrants. We've got 2 in stock right now that have to be installed at 2 other locations. So we've got about a 4-week wait on a hydrant. So we've ordered some more hydrants to replace that. So it'll be probably within the next month, I would say. So, yeah.
So I drove 624 with the shingles. I was quite happy the way they stood up. There's a lot of material still left on that road. Again, I think it's working. They did a great job of packing and stuff, and it's the longevity I think is there. I was a little disappointed that we didn't have something in the package as far as that estimate that I had brought in to continue with 624. I thought that was coming to this meeting, and again, when is that? Because I would prefer to try to do this sooner than later, and especially if we have all these people applying for dust control, which I'm pretty sure all of them have applied already, that we need to kind of decide what's happening with that.
Yeah. So we're meeting with one supplier tomorrow for another alternate for kind of Range Road 2175. But the plan was after that to kind of have the plan for both sites brought to council. So it's going to be going to the next asset management committee meeting, which is scheduled in May, and then to the next council meeting kind of end of May.
So when is dust control going to be put down then?
I guess that would be like once the decision's made and we can line it up with the contractors. Like we'll have to engage somebody to haul the material out, and then it's when we can fit it in with our sources. But are you talking about the shingle sites or just in general dust control?
Well, no, that on 624 that because if you're gonna put down mag chloride again on that site, and then we're looking at doing the shingles, well then it wouldn't happen. So that's why I'm kind of pushing to have this done sooner than later.
Yeah, we would make sure that the mag chloride doesn't go down and then shingles on top of it for sure. Yeah, so they should be like fairly close in terms of a timeline, just so that they're not waiting another month after everyone's already got dust control.
Well, and that's what some of my ratepayers on that road have been saying, because the dust is bad, and yeah, they've all applied for the dust control, and I said, well, we're looking into it, but I that's all I can say for them, but I just don't want to go out and well, I thought you talked about that. Well, let's see a little bit more first, but yeah, I'd say sooner or later is what I'd like to do.
Question.
Yeah, we're just a little backed up right now. We just want to get all the roads bladed once, including the dirts, just for the spring for the farmers so they can get seeding. So we've got a little bit of work in there. So we're just a little bit constrained here for the next couple of weeks to get all those roads bladed, and then we'll get onto that dust control. And we have to redo the dust control sites as well too. So it takes a little bit more time. So it's on our list, but just going to be a couple of weeks.
I have a question. What is the application deadline for dust control? It was April 30th, so it's past. Okay.
Do you know how many dust control sites we've got so far?
I haven't looked at it.
Close to 80, I believe.
Motion to acknowledge the public works report. Oh, sorry, Stan. We were going to do the motion and then discuss it, but go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. Number one is on Jackson and Kennedy. After the garage sale, I guess somebody wasn't satisfied with their purchase and dumped it in the ditch. Can we have somebody go pick that up? And
Picked it up this morning.
pardon me?
We picked it up this morning.
Okay, thank you. Because that was, I guess they, whatever they paid, they weren't satisfied with and decided to remove it, whatever. The next question I had is the intersection of Highway 48 onto Kennedy. There's a pothole developing quite seriously. Is that our responsibility for the municipality, or is that highways?
That's ours.
That's yours?
Yeah, we'll get at Jackson and the pothole as soon as we get some hot mix
No, I just,
available. Yeah.
yeah, I just wondered whose responsibility it was. If it's ours, then that's fine. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Other questions for Rod or Clark? Oh, Steve.
Yeah, with the dirt road grading, Rod, I got a few calls from some concerned guys that in the north area that would like to get the dirt roads graded, because I guess some people made a mess of it and they can't get down with their cedars. So
Yeah, we've got a mess, to say the least. We were on some black dirt roads last week, and then we got a grader stuck. So then it was kind of like hold off sort of thing. So, but this week looks good. So we should have all the dirts done by hopefully Friday.
I had just noticed there was a comment on the RM Facebook page. It was actually from Craig Strudwick about the road bans being on right now. So I don't know, is anyone going to reach out to him about that?
Actually, he did reach out, and if you want to speak to that, because that would be great, Shauna.
Yeah. So the road bans aren't on, but we are still restricting weights to secondary weights. I have responded to Craig, and we are going to monitor the roads. If we can lift the road bans or lift the restrictions earlier, we will. But our rural lead person did indicate that the roads were still soft as of Friday. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
just on the water line Belgoni, it's all completed, is it?
Yeah, substantially complete, hooked up. There's just some cleanup work left for them to do in the road right of ways where there was, where the ground was disturbed. But that's been noted on the deficiency list from the engineers.
And just on that, Stephen, with regards to Ryan Label and sort of that, I've made sure that Craig's in the loop with, or Clark is in the loop with Ryan, and they'll coordinate in terms of crop damage and whatnot. So.
Yeah, we'll probably have that discussion at council as well. Like, I think that portion was seeded well in, all the way within the RM right away. So there's probably some discussion on, it's RM owned property that we allow to be seeded. However, I don't know if we gave him notice that it was going to be happening and disturbed. So I think there will be discussion to be had. It's not giant dollar figures, but we just need to have the discussion on what's fair.
Don't want to cut anybody off. Any other questions? Motion to accept the Public Works report as presented. Stephen.
That we accept the Public Works report as presented.
Thank you. Any further questions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Tim?
Make a motion. We have a 15-minute break.
All in favor? Motion is carried.
Just bringing up the report here. So this bylaw, 2026-05, was originally approved by council. However, the applicant had to amend the property boundaries for the new parcel. They had to include the existing wastewater system, and community planning unfortunately approved the bylaw without realizing that and held on to the certificate of approval. So usually they approve those two documents hand in hand, but at this point, one moved forward before the other, and now we're in this situation. So today we're asking council to rescind second, third reading and subdivision approval and give second, third reading and subdivision approval with the new plan of proposed subdivision. If you go to the last two pages of the report,
I can just show you what's changed. It's not much, but unfortunately, so on this, you'll see that area in the bold dash line. Remember that shape? And then Karen, go down to the next page. You can see it's a little bit different in this one. So that's the reason why this is coming to council today.
That's a really long motion to read.
All my motions today are really long, and I apologize in advance.
It's 6 separate motions. So we can tag team on it.
Okay. I gotta get closer, get my glasses adjusted. That council rescind second reading resolution 2026-115 to bylaw 2026-05 by bylaw to amend the zoning map to rezone parcel B northeast quarter 12-16-18 west of the second meridian from AR agricultural resource to CR1 country residential 1.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Carmen?
I was turning it off, not
Yeah.
on. That council rescind third reading resolution 2026-113 to bylaw 2026-05, a bylaw to amend the zoning map to rezone parcel B northeast quarter 12-16-18 west of the second from ag resource to country residential 1.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Third motion, Karen?
The council rescind the subdivision approval resolution 2026-114 of parcel B in the northeast quarter 12-16-18 west of the second, as shown on the plan of proposed subdivision prepared by Geo Vera Inc., dated the 5th day of January 2026.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Next motion, Stephen?
That bylaw number 2026-05 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning proposed parcel B northeast quarter 12-16-18 west of second from AR agricultural resource to CR1 country residential. 1 shown on the revised plan to proposed subdivision on Schedule A for bylaw 2026-05 be given second reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Tim?
That bylaw number 2026-05 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning parcel B northeast quarter 12-16-18 west of the second from AR agricultural resource to CR1 country residential 1, as shown on the revised plan of proposed subdivision on Schedule A of bylaw 2026-05 be given third reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And it's fine. Okay. Nicole?
That we recommend approval of subdivision of parcel B in the northeast quarter of 12-16-18 west of the second, as shown on the revised plat of proposed subdivision prepared by Geo Vera Income, dated this 8th day of April 2026, with it being noted that the servicing agreement has been signed by the Chief Administrative Officer, the developer and or property owner. The servicing agreement fee has been paid and the application complies with the RM's official community plat and zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. 20 report or bylaw 2026-10.
This bylaw is to rezone parcels A, E, and F from agricultural resource to CR1 by contract, so contract zone. And this is to allow for reduced site sizes and setbacks for principal and accessory buildings. As you note, Karen, if you want to go down to the colored map, just so I can talk about it. So these three parcels in the corner right there, so they're zoned AR and they would have to adhere to all the setbacks in the agricultural resource zoning district, which are meant to be on a quarter section of land. So those setbacks are quite difficult to be met on these three parcels of land. The beginning of this process, the middle lot of the three was the first request to be to be into a contract zone. So looking at those reduced setbacks for an accessory building. Then the other two neighboring lots to each side wanted to join in on that contract zone. So they would have the same development standards and the same setbacks, which is really great. That was probably the best outcome that could have occurred in this situation. So they will all be under the same contract zone with the same setbacks and same site sizes. And primarily this was triggered by one individual wanting to put an accessory building up, but unfortunately with the side yard setbacks, their building envelope, so the land that they could have built on was very, very tiny. So with these reduced setbacks, it will help with that. Now, the reason why they weren't zoned just to CR1 and without the contract zone, because the site sizes are too small. These site sizes are almost like a Spruce Creek, a CR3 site size. So we use the setbacks from the CR3 zoning district because of the comparison of the actual land within the lots. But we kept them in a CR1 so they would still have those agricultural opportunities such as keeping livestock and things like that. So they're still maintaining the same character of the site. So we're looking for second and third reading on this contract zone.
I can do it.
Carmen, first motion.
Yep, that bylaw number 2026-10 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20 zone known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning parcels A, E, F, plan number 86R65155 Southwest 14, 29, 17, 17 west of the second from Ag Resource to Country Residential 1 contract zone be given second reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Looking for third and final reading. Stan.
Bylaw number 2026-10 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20 known as a zoning bylaw by rezoning parcels A, E, and F. Plan number 86R65155 Southwest Corridor 291717 west of the second meridian from AR Agriculture Resource District to CR1-C-Country Residential 1 contract zone being given third and final reading.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And bylaw number 2026-15.
This application is for a new parcel out of a quarter section, so it needs to be rezoned from agricultural resource to CR1. Right now, it's vacant property, so we're looking for second and third reading and subdivision approval as the service agreement has been signed and the fees have been paid.
Thank you. For first motion.
That the bylaw number 2026-15 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20 known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning proposed block par A South SW quarter 271917 west of the second from AR Agriculture Resource to CR1 Country Residential be given second reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. For third and final reading, Tim?
That bylaw number 2026-15 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning proposed block/par A Southwest Quarter 27-19-17 west of the 2nd from AR Agricultural Resources to CR1 Country Residential 1 be given third and final reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. And looking for motion on approval of the subdivision. Stephen?
That we recommend approval for the subdivision of Block Par A in the Southwest Quarter 27-19-17 west of the 2nd, as shown on the plan of the proposed subdivision prepared by Meridian Surveys Limited, dated the 21st day of March 2026, and authorize the Reeve and Chief Administrator Officer to sign the service agreement, with it being noted that the servicing agreement has been signed by the developer and/or property owner, the servicing agreement fee has been paid, and the application complies with the RM's official community planning and zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. Number 2, 13.5.
So this is bylaw 2026-16. Karen, if you want to just go down to the plan of proposed subdivision. This is a parcel B that's being subdivided out of the quarter section. Just to note that this is the application where there's an existing parcel in the middle of the quarter section with no legal or physical access to the road. So this subdivision, A, expands the site of parcel B, but also provides that access legally to the road to the north and physically, obviously. So we are looking for second and third reading and subdivision approval in this application. Service agreement has been signed and the application fees have been paid.
Thank you.
I can do the first one.
Okay.
Bylaw number 2026-16 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number, 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning proposed block parcel B, section 23-17-17-2 from ag resource to country residential 1 be given second reading.
Thank you. Comments, questions on the motion? Motion is carried. Looking for third and final reading. Karen?
That bylaw 2026-16, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-20, known as the zoning bylaw by rezoning proposed block parcel B, section 23-17-17-2 from agricultural resource to country residential 1 be given third and final reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. For third and final reading. Or sorry, subdivisions approval.
All right.
Carmen?
That we recommend approval of the subdivision of block parcel B in section 23-17-17 west of the 2nd, as shown on the plan of proposed subdivision prepared by Meridian Surveys Limited, dated the 12th day of March 2026, and authorize the Reeve and CAO to sign the servicing agreement, with it being noted that the servicing agreement has been signed by the developer and/or property owner. The servicing agreement fee has been paid, and the application complies with the RM's official community plan and zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. This is a long one.
Last report for planning. So this is the discretionary use for the ILO that we had the public hearing for last meeting. So in that public hearing, we had 2 verbal submissions, one from the applicant and one from the Ministry of Ag, and 1 written thank you, which I read out loud. This application, so their existing approval right now is has 740 animal units. They're looking to expand to 1,775 animal units. That expansion will be gradual. It won't be immediately once the approval or a decision is issued. This process also runs concurrently with the Ministry of Ag, so they do need a permit from the ministry in order to grant approval for their expansion. We're just part of that approval process. We have conditions listed here 1 through 10. One of the conditions I want to note is the minimum separation distance. So as per our zoning bylaw, we have separation distances from houses to ILOs, and those houses that are occupied by, say, the owner of the ILO is not included in that separation distance. But in this case, there is one house that is within that separation distance that is not included, or not, that's not the right word.
Yeah.
Associated with the ILO. And we do have a letter, and it is attached from that property owner granting their approval of the separation distance. So keeping in mind that as well. So condition 4 does grant that reduced minimum separation distance from the nearest residence. Other than that, the application checks all of our boxes and meets the development standards within the zoning bylaw. I will just make one more note. Because of the written submission that we did have at the public hearing, we did add a condition on the permit talking about primary weight permits and road haul agreements if it is required at a later date, just so then the RM covers that risk and takes that public feedback into consideration.
Thank you. For motion?
That's mine, so
Tim.
I guess I'll do it. Yeah. Do you want to scroll down just a bit? Thank you. That the discretionary use application to allow expansion of the existing ILO at Northwest 281918 west of the 2nd be approved with the following conditions. The site shall be developed in accordance with the attached site plan and any additional documents submitted to the Minister of Agriculture for review. The maximum of 1,775 animal units, AU, as indicated on the application made to the Ministry of Agriculture, are permitted at this site. Any further ILO expansion will require a separate discretionary use approval from Council. Number 3, the development shall conform to all regulations outlined in subsection 5.3, intensive livestock operation, of the RM of Edenwold zoning bylaw number 2019-20. Number 4, a reduced minimum separation distance from the nearest residence shall be permitted as per the understanding that the development will not negatively impact the use of surrounding properties. Number 5, no manure associated with the development shall be spread or injected within 400 meters of the unincorporated hamlet of Franks Lake. Number 6, should a legitimate concern arise, Council may require soil and surface water or groundwater to be assessed by a qualified professional to confirm that construction and ongoing operation of the ILO are not creating contamination risks to surrounding soil and water resources. A, if any such assessment identifies contamination levels deemed unacceptable by a qualified professional, Council may require that additional precautionary measures be implemented. Number 7, primary weight permits are required from road data, the phone number, for any overweight vehicles. A road haul agreement may also be required. Number 8, drainage shall be maintained on site and not affect adjacent properties. Number 9, the development shall conform to the regulations provided with the Agriculture Operation Act of 1995 and any other conditions imposed by the Ministry of Agriculture in association with their approval of the development. Finally, number 10, no person shall cause or permit any lands or buildings to become untidy or unsightly.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions on the motion?
I don't think I caught it all. Could you repeat it?
I have one. What happens, Paige, if that neighbor would sell their property that approved that setback? What would we do then?
So that's a purchaser like due diligence at that point, right? Because of this approval already being set prior to change of ownership. I mean, it maybe should be disclosed and like in a sale agreement, or check your surroundings, call the RM, see what's going on. We can only do so much. Yeah.
Other questions? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Okay. 13.6 has been deleted from the agenda, so we're down to RM business. 14.1 electoral division boundary review report.
So council, this report was presented to you all at the last council meeting last week, and there was a motion to table this report to this meeting, just to give council some more time to consider what options after hearing some feedback from the gallery. After the meeting, there was further conversation about options A and B and some modifications to those maps. They are presented as attached. So there's map A and modified A, and then map B and then modified B. Those were modified based on feedback from council, as well as A was really modified just to kind of straighten the lines a little bit, but there was no significant impact. So we didn't write a new report. The changes of the report are highlighted in red, but I guess I'll just open it up for conversation.
Discussion, anyone? Crickets. Yeah.
I can kick us off here. I don't disagree with the idea and the need to alter the boundaries. I don't believe we should be doing it at this time. I believe that we should be waiting until the census comes out. I just actually got my census papers delivered yesterday. So we do have to review our boundaries based on the census coming out. We are, yes, out of compliance with the Municipalities Act. However, what recourse is? We've been out of compliance. It's not like the province is coming down on us. And I believe that we are in a better position in February, and to do it now and then look at it again is not good governance.
Thank you. Other comments?
Yeah, I too agree. I've looked at all the boundaries and that keeps coming back to, I again got mine. That's the census is due March 12th or May 12th here, and that was one comment, that I couldn't believe it that they had sent it on May the 4th or received it on May the 4th, and it has to be done that quick. But again, for us to rush through this, I think it's something that maybe needs to be done, but I don't see the urgency in it. And as far as being in compliance, I would challenge how many other RMs throughout Saskatchewan are not in compliance of it.
I am in favor of moving forward today. I think that we have been out of compliance for quite some time, and I actually had a conversation with our MLA, Brad Crasweller, and he would like us to get into compliance. I also believe that some of us have way more ratepayers than other councillors, and I feel like we should get in line. I think it's a better idea to do it, just get it done. And I also think that Sydney and the crew did a pretty good job a really good job of, and what I believe they will be very close to what the census will come out as. And yeah, I just think that we'll be realigning boundaries as the years, as we keep progressing, and that's not a bad thing. It means we're growing. So I think it's time we got in line.
Which option are you leaning towards?
Well, I think after our conversations that we had after our last council meeting, I think option A seems to have everybody more on board. Karen, what do you think?
I do too. I actually think administration did an excellent job with this report, and that's what we tasked them to do. I think I personally don't see the numbers are going to be out that far because of the wastewater restrictions. So our growth was really restricted the last 3 or 4 years. So I personally think they're going to be pretty close. And I think they've allowed for growth where they know growth is going to be. I think this could possibly, and I don't quote me, may alleviate one election, correct, Shauna? We may have to have 3 elections if we don't do this now. It would be this year,
Oh, sorry.
next year, and then
Yeah, I
even
don't
again.
know. Yeah, I'm not
But we're not
sure.
sure.
I'm not sure if we were to do the review after the census, if we would have to make it effective and call a by-election, or if they would allow us to go to the next general election, which would be in 2028. I don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think they've done a really, really good job. And yeah, that's my opinion. And my preference would be option A.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely a good job. I mean, there's only so many ways you can move the divisions around, and I think it's where it's got to be or where it needs to be. And I think the having the election right away would be the proper thing to do. And yeah, I would pick A.
Tim? Okay. Stephen?
I would, if any, I'd go, I know it has to be done, so I would go with A. It's pretty well the best it looks like best for everybody for A.
Okay. Other discussion? Stan?
I think I spoke a lot last meeting, didn't I? I can go both ways on this. Number one is holding an election this year before the census comes out. I see merit in not holding an election. The penalty would be, and I don't think there is one, we're not in compliance. We haven't been in compliance for some time. And so what does that mean? You know, it's not affecting anything. So that's where I kind of lean towards postponing till after we see the census and to see if we're on the right track. I know there's been a pile of work been done to it, but why that was done is because I looked at it, and I'm not saying it was a bad job or a good job. I think it was an excellent job. And it created a lot of conversation in the community and everything else. And I think that's a good thing. But having the election this year, I'm just, like I say, I can go either way. And if it passes and we go through, then I would take option A.
Any other discussion?
Wondering what would be the cost of another election too? Like, if we didn't do it right away? Like, so we're looking at, if they say, yeah, you have to do another election, then that's just another, you have to get everybody out again. Like, people are just going to get to the point where how many elections are there going to be in the next few years? And we need to get everybody out to vote. And I think having them come out every year is not a good thing.
I would ask, oh, sorry. Have an estimate, or Sarah, do you remember what the estimate cost was for the 2024 election?
It was around 4,000.
And it's hard to say what an election would cost, because if there is an election, sometimes there's acclamation, like sometimes there isn't an actual vote, depending on the situation.
I think that our ratepayers asked us to get in line, and Brad, our MLA, also asked us to get it. He thinks that we should get in line as well. And in all reality, some of the council here has, triple the amount of ratepayers as some of the other councillors. So I don't know. I just think we should get in line as soon as possible.
So is this, if, let's say it goes with A, or what other option, is it going to be put out to all the ratepayers for them to look at it?
So this is the final decision. We already have given public notice, and we've had an open house. So we have received feedback through the open house and the survey. There is no further requirement through our policy to do additional consultation with stakeholders. Of course, if council does pass it and we make application and the minister approves the boundaries, we will definitely be doing notification to the public.
It's an topic. Any more discussion?
Well, there's an election this fall anyway for 246. But the next thing, after the census come out, we look at it. And then if you don't have another election anyway, then you have 2 years down the road or whatever, you're in exactly the same position we are now. So I just say we just hold off and wait, listen to the thing, have the 246 election and wait, see what the consensus say, and then you have your other general after. But remember, you still got to divide it up so that there'll be a 246 and the odd and even, it got to be split. And they've got to be 2 years apart between 2, 4, and 6, or between the 2, 4, and 6 and the 1, 3, 5, the odd and even. Okay, that narrows it down. There's always has and always will be a space in there. At the one time, we used to have elections every 2 years, and or every year, I should say, not every 2 years. So like odd was one, and then 2 years later, or 1 year later, you'd have that one, and you kept revolving it all the time. So all this done was, when we went to 4 years, was to extend that distance because everybody got tired of running elections, right? And the advantage of this is why it's split up, is because you always have a continuity of somebody sitting at the table in case you get, like, the odds all get out and the new batch come in, new members, and then so they can be brought up to date what's happening, and then vice versa when the other goes the other direction. That was the reason for the odd even situation for rural. Okay. When you get urban, they don't have such a thing.
So you're okay with some people having like 1,100 or 800 ratepayers and some people having 300 ratepayers?
Okay, when the consensus come out, you're going to have an election anyway.
We don't know that for sure. I think that they did a really good job of predicting the numbers.
So waiting 1 year is really causing a problem?
Clarity, we'll get the census has gone out yesterday. We have until May the 12th. History says we get the results in February of the following year. So we're in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 10 months. And here we are in a situation where come February, we could have adjustments to the boundaries based on that. I come back to, it's not good governance to do this now when we have the data coming, regardless of whether it's A, B, or C. So
Then that's just going to be another year gone again. So then we're almost 4 years behind then by that time.
Yeah, it feels like an excuse not to do the right thing. To me, it just sort of feels like an excuse not to do the right thing, and I don't think it's right. The people have asked us to do it.
Well, and the government has too, but they just I don't know if they just haven't reached out to find out when this is going to happen or what. But if we just get it done before they start pressuring us, then we don't have to be pressured after.
I just feel like it's the right thing to do, but I guess we should put it to a vote then.
Well, we need a motion on the floor to have a vote.
I have to wordsmith this a little bit, hey?
Well, and also depending on what your motion is.
I know.
If it is a motion for one of the options, there's a whole bunch of legal land descriptions that we have to add to the motion. We didn't want to write up like 8 different options. So we'll just bring it back for a review if you can pick which option, if that's the motion you're making.
That's what I'll do. I'll just wordsmith this a bit to get this conversation going. That council direct the administration to apply to the Minister of Government Relations to alter division boundaries in accordance with option A. I guess that would be it.
Yeah, thank you.
That would be it.
Further discussion?
I would like a recorded vote.
Okay. Discussion? Okay. Call the, sorry. Yeah. 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 Carmen,
not in favor.
Division 2. Sorry? In favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Division 3?
In favor.
4? Division 5? Division 6?
Not in favor.
Division 7?
In favor.
And Reeve in favor. Motion is carried. Okay, down to, oh, sorry. Caught up?
Almost, yeah.
14.2, bylaw number 2026-17, a bylaw to establish an additional service area for Bridlewood Estates. On it, we had a public meeting last week on that with the delegation was here and made the application. So looking for the first reading so we can discuss.
That bylaw number 2026-17 being a bylaw to establish an additional service area for Bridlewood Estates be given first reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? For anybody who wasn't at that public hearing, this is for Bridlewood to take over their water supply from the water treatment plant from the developer on it, and they had consensus other than one ratepayer that was in agreement to go ahead with the purchase and the transfer of it. Any other?
Just to clarify, it's actually to undertake upgrades to the system.
Right.
So, and then we will essentially be the bank. So this is a bylaw where we will pay for the expenses and then we will recoup all of those costs through taxes. And as Reeve Trainer said, there was nobody in the meeting that was opposed. And through their public consultation, there was 22 in favor and 1 opposed. So
Correct. Comments?
Yeah, and basically the additional service area for basically taxes over what, 10-year period then? Is that?
it's only 3 years. Yeah, this is only 3 years.
Okay, looking for a motion? Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah, I talked too much on it. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Looking for motion for second reading. Darren?
The bylaw number 2026-17 being the bylaw to establish an additional service area for Bridlewood Estates be given second reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Looking for a motion to approve 3 readings at this meeting. Stephen?
That bylaw number 2026-17 being a bylaw to establish an additional service area to Bridlewood Estates be given third reading at this meeting,
3 readings.
or 3 readings at this meeting.
Okay, when I call the vote, please indicate your vote clearly as it must be unanimous. All in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. And looking for third and final reading. Karen?
That bylaw number 2026-17, being a bylaw to establish an additional service area for Bridlewood Estates, be given third and final reading.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Down to, or up to 14.3, 2026 utility bylaws.
Okay, so administration is presenting this report to council, which includes updated public utility bylaws. The updated bylaws reflect a 2% increase to utility rates as approved in the 2026 operating and capital budget, along with several housekeeping amendments. The utility rates are established by bylaw with approval required from the local government committee of the Saskatchewan Municipal Board. The 2% increase for 2026 was proposed and approved through budget to help offset rising operating and capital utility costs for the municipality. The utility rates have not been increased since April 1st of 2023, when they were increased by 3%. And effective April 1st, 2024, the sewer infrastructure levy 2 was actually decreased from $33.33 per month to $11.11. We've proceeded with drafting the bylaws for the public water utility, the water vending machine, and the public wastewater utility. And we've summarized the changes from the repealed bylaws as listed below. We're recommending doing first reading of each bylaw at the meeting today, and then doing second and third reading at the next council meeting, but there is the option to give all 3 readings today as well.
Okay. First, looking for a motion so we can discuss.
I'll start it off, seeing we're all in the list here.
Stan?
Okay, that bylaw number 2026-20B, a bylaw to regulate the operation of a public water utility, be given first reading.
Thank you. Discussion. I have a question, Sarah. How was 2% picked?
We did an analysis of the operating and capital costs on the revenue and expense side. And based on the increases that we're seeing for operations, that kind of followed the methodology we used for the budget as a whole. And we found that that was applicable for the utilities as well.
Thank you. Other questions? All in favor? Motion is carried. Looking for a motion for vending machine be given first reading. Nicole?
That the bylaw number 2026-2021, being a bylaw to regulate the operation of a water vending machine, be given first reading.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. And looking for a motion for public wastewater utility. Stephen,
That bylaw number 2026-22 be given a bylaw, being a bylaw to regulate the operation of a public wastewater utility be given first reading.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay. Down to 14.3.2.
No, we're actually down to 14.4
Oh,
because we've
sorry.
just given first
Oh,
reading
yeah.
to each of those
We just gave
bylaws.
first
Yeah.
reading to them. Sorry. Okay, we're down to 14.4, Strychnine Stewardship Program for Richardson's Ground Squirrel. Report ADM 26051.
Right, so administration is bringing this report forward to council today to get direction on whether you want to participate in the strychnine stewardship program or not. Ministry of Agriculture has released the details with regards to the regulation of this program. So the program will be administered through RMs. RM personnel will be required to take mandatory training. We'll have to ensure that all forms are completed properly, including the private forms, like the user forms. We will have to ensure that the species at risk assessments are being done at each treatment site prior to selling the product to the user. The user will also have to take mandatory training. We'll have to confirm that each user has an integrated pest management strategy and risk mitigation strategy for the Richardson ground squirrel. And we're also going to be required to maintain and keep all the records for the program, as well as all the information that is provided by the users. So this is a very onerous program to manage. We may require, if council decides to go forward with this, we may require to hire additional resources. I don't know yet. I don't know what the uptake will be. Like if there's a couple of ratepayers, we might be able to manage it. But if we have a huge uptake, we may have to train additional people and staff, and it may be a little bit more resource heavy than what to expect. There is an opportunity. And again, we don't know who's participating and who isn't because we have until May 8th, and surrounding municipalities are having these same conversations with their councils this week. There is an opportunity if the RM of Edenwold does not want to participate, we could enter into an agreement with a participating municipality to have our ratepayers eligible to purchase from a participating municipality. Again, I'm not sure who's participating or not. So I guess there's two options. You can either show intent to participate or not. I don't know I know that we did receive some feedback or some interest from ratepayers on the strychnine program, but I think each of you would probably have a better idea of what the uptake will be and the requirement for this program in the municipality.
Okay, we'll break from tradition here and we'll have a discussion before we look for a motion on this because it's basically a yes or no thing, and Shauna has laid it out quite succinctly. Would defer it over to our full-time farmer.
Just the way it sounds, it's going to be way more complicated than we had the strychnine in the past. So it's going to be a lot of. I think it should go out to the ratepayers maybe to find out what their views, whether they're going to be interested in this, because this is going to be very, very demanding for and record keeping for what they got to do with this stuff.
Yeah, I in the past I've used strychnine too, and yeah, you'd come and sign the paper saying that that you're not going to poison anybody with it and stuff, and you know, there's certain guidelines that you had to try to adhere to, but by the looks of it now, I don't think that they've even said who's going to be administering these courses. when they're going to be done. It's not going to be happening this year, and yet they put a date of May the 8th on it.
So just for that, literally as I was sitting here, we received an email from SARM on the training courses. So it'll be, and we just have to share whether we intend to participate or not right now. We don't have any details of the purchase cost of Strychnine, when we're actually getting it, or anything like that.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's the one document I read. It's not going to happen this year, anyways. It's going to be next year, because I say now it's time that it should have been done. So again, the onus is going to be on the RMs, and quite frankly, we're one of the larger RMs that probably have more resources than any of our surrounding RMs. So I would say that a lot of the RMs around the area are probably going to be looking towards us to administer this thing. Again, the cost of having our staff doing it and stuff, I don't know what kind of cost that's going to be. And yeah, and the May 8th thing just drives me crazy because they want to indicate interest, but I guess we can opt out after if we decide that we can go for it. And if all of a sudden we look at it and say like this is going to be cost imperative, then we could probably drop out then, I think.
Yeah, they didn't provide any details on whether you show intent to participate, and then if you decide not to participate, they didn't really talk too much about that. But again, I think that it's always, in the end of the day, it would be council's decision as to whether they want to participate with selling the strychnine. And you're right, apparently we can add those costs onto the strychnine. I don't know, like that depends on what council wants to do to set a price for the sale of it.
Yeah, I think we'd have to pass, some of that costing to the ratepayers, and again, it could be cost prohibitive. It's one of those things, and I know we have some very dedicated ratepayers that are want to have some type of control on the gopher population and stuff, but I quite frankly I think there's other ways to do it that aren't as costly as what this is going to be. But in the same token, maybe we should agree to participate, and then if I don't know if we can change our motion to make it that if the cost gets too high, then we will not, move forward with it.
Yeah, council can make whatever motion. These are just draft motions, so you can amend it however you wish.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot of pushback from ratepayers if we didn't sign on to this. There's been a lot of work done by SARM to lobby the federal government on this, and I like say deferring to ones that would be using it on it, but I know politically that there's been a lot of work done to lobby the federal government. Unfortunately, they've got it so administrative heavy that it's going to be difficult to administer, but we have to understand that if we go that route, we may have to put resources to it and go from there. And I don't even know if we have what is going to require for legal storage of it. Does it have to be in a locked facility or? Yeah. But who do you have trained for it and stuff? So there's a lot of unknowns, but I would think, and just guessing, that if we were to opt in and down the road, I don't think there'd be any way they could stop you from opting out on a program like this. So I would suggest that we opt into it at this point and get more information on it, because as we said, it's probably not going to happen until next year anyway. And we'd have time to work on a policy to have it set up and distributed, and work out a cost, what it's going to be, and see how many people are interested.
So I did reach out after I saw that. I reached out to both Cody and to Brad in terms of this is obviously a download of the federal requirements to us, or to the provinces that want this. So it sounds like there was some negotiation between the feds and the Ministry of Ag on sort of getting us to this point. But now it becomes the details of the program and how it's administered. And it, you know, if we chose not to participate, our ag producers, and rightly so, would be, you know, quite frustrated with us. So I'm in alignment that we go forward in terms of indicating our interest in the program. And then we figure it out as we go forward, because it's something that my ag producers need. I farm effectively, I rent it out, but we've been asking for it for years, so let's figure out a way forward with it.
Do you have a motion?
Yeah, we can. The first one there. Yeah, option 1, that whereas the Saskatchewan Ministry of Ag has released the requirements for rural municipalities of the Strychnine Distribution and Stewardship Program, and whereas the deadline to indicate interest in the program is May the 8th, 2026, therefore be it resolved that the arm of Edenwold participate in the Strychnine Distribution and Stewardship Program.
Thank you. Additional discussion on the motion?
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. 14.5, garage sale weekend discussion. Okay.
She can be present.
All right.
Yes, so I had asked for this to be put on the agenda as a discussion item because of.
Yeah, we're just going to wait for.
Sorry.
Has somebody called Donna to come in? Okay.
Yeah, I'd asked for it to be on the agenda too. This should be a good conversation.
I saw her go by my house a few times, so she didn't arrest anybody or anything, so.
Did anybody else get notify now test? This is a test of the city of Regina's local emergency alert system.
Did you just get it now?
About 20 minutes ago.
Oh, I have my phone shut.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay, Donna, we asked you to come in. That we want to have a discussion about the garage sale weekend. I think it's related around the issue with the child that was struck by a vehicle and injured. My understanding is that happened in White City, I believe, over by the new school. So if you could just kind of fill us in so we're not going on rumors.
Okay, so the information I did get, this is kind of like third party. So I had spoke to Kagan, the CSO there, and then also spoke to the principal, Jackie Straub. So what ended up happening is this was probably, I think it happened just before school, from what we could understand. And Kagan was running radar, and he was on Motherwell. So he was just west of the school. So, and he was facing northbound. So he said that when the accident occurred, it happened behind him because it happened on Motherwell, on the, just as the curve and on the south side of the school. So from what he had said was they figured, the principal said it was like a grade 3 or 4 student that was coming out of Park Meadows. So what he was doing, and Karen, did you happen to download the pictures? Oh, you didn't. Okay. All right. So I did take pictures of it. So if we don't have the pictures, I'll just try to describe it to you. So the crosswalk that the student was coming out of, he was coming out of Park Meadows, which is located on the south side of Motherwell. There's homes that back Park Meadows south of the school, and there's like an easement, like a walkway that the student can come, they can walk through, and it's gated so that it just comes straight out, and then you go onto Motherwell, and then there is like a pedestrian crosswalk that's there, that's right attached to it. The pedestrian crosswalk doesn't have flashers. It's just the signs, and then there's markings that are on Motherwell. So the student was coming out to school, figured it happened just before 9 o'clock, something like that. And a truck was traveling eastbound on Motherwell, and I'm not sure if it was coming around the curve from Motherwell to like going southbound and then turning eastbound, or if they were coming out of College Crescent. So they came out, and there is a house, the two houses that are on either side of the walkway. The first one, which would be to the west side of the walkway, had like a panel van parked in it, and also a vehicle was there. So it did obstruct the view of the pathway for anybody who would have been driving there. So he was driving, and this, again, this is according to the talking to the principal and then talking to the CSO. He was driving along, saw the grade 3 or grade 4 come out on the pathway, slammed on his brakes, and then ran into the truck, hit the side of the truck. So there was people that had saw, because there was people that were around there. So they came up. I don't know who these individuals were, whether they were residents or if they were staff from the school. So they called 911. And then the student must have been laying on the ground. And I think 2 RCMP officers showed up. And he wasn't wearing a helmet. And he was also wearing like shorts and a t-shirt, because it was quite a bit warmer that day. So he would have had sustained injuries. I don't know what the injuries were at the time that this had happened, but he was going into shock, because Kagan said that people were putting blankets on the student, and he was shaking. So the ambulance that was coming from Regina, and they were instructed, and I don't know if this was the RCMP or if it was the staff or whoever called 911, was to go down the 48 and then turn onto Motherwell at the entrance from the 48. So they would have not gone through any of the other areas like Lot Road or anything like that. And that would be typical for any emergency vehicle, is that you take the route that is the most, I guess, accessible to get you there the fastest, is what they would have done. And I'm just speaking from my experience, because that's what I would have done too, is come in from that direction. So what ended up happening is that STARS was activated. But the way STARS is because this happened in a rural area, there's a certain criteria that has to get met, and for STARS to be activated, and it's the physician that activates STARS. It's not, and I could give you 2 circumstances, and then this is just based on my experience of my previous occupation, is that when the 911 call came in, the 911 call operator would have asked what the condition was, the age, how are they seeing, what they could tell, are they conscious, are they breathing? And if an ambulance is dispatched on the way, either dispatch may have called the hospital, which would have been the general, or the physician made the decision then and there, or they could have waited until paramedics arrived on scene and then they made the assessment to call. But like I said, through my experience, just based on the age of the victim, shock was setting in because he was trembling, and then also the possibility of a head injury because he didn't have a helmet on, that they wouldn't take any chances. They would have automatically deployed stars regardless. But it's just a matter of when they deployed, whether it was the initial 911 call that the hospital, because typically they're notified if there's a head injury that's coming in, or it could have been the assessment of the paramedic. So from what I could understand when I talked to Kagan, he said when he was running radar, he typically does that in the morning. But again, he's like tries to do the school zone, but he was on the other side, didn't witness the accident. But when I asked him what the traffic was like, he said it was light. So there wasn't a lot of traffic. So that means that when this accident happened, there was a good chance that probably all the kids were at school, and then maybe this student was just a little bit late. So that's kind of the information I got from there. And what we did as a follow-up, we talked to the principal afterwards, and because we spent most of the day out on Mother, we were in White City probably from about 10 till 4 o'clock, just to help out the CSO. Because there was quite a bit of traffic on Emerald Ridge Drive. So when I talked to the principal, she said that the student was having a CT scan. That was probably at around lunch hour because she was standing out at the crosswalk, and that's where I was. And that would have been just automatic protocol for them to do that for that type of injury. And then also, she stated afterwards when we went back to watch the crosswalk at the end of the day to make sure there wasn't any other incident, the student did sustain a concussion, but they had already left the hospital. They had gone home. So that's the information that I was able to collect on that.
Thank you. Before we discuss the issue, any questions for Donna?
Was there, so I've spoken with Jackie as well. The sense that I got was that the area was crowded with vehicles related to the garage sale, so that impaired the visibility. Is that what Kagan had suggested as well? I just want to understand, I guess, what level of contribution the garage sale has had as it relates to this.
What Kagan had said to me, he said the traffic was light. He didn't say anything about the garage sales obstructing that area. So I'm not sure what Jackie had come out. You're talking about the principal, correct? I'm not sure what time she'd come out or if she was made aware, if she had been out there immediately, but Kagan said he was one of the first people that was there. And again, the RCMP had showed up, and I couldn't get timelines, but from that what I had understood is that the traffic was light. I'm not sure if there was people that were parked and blocking, because when we had showed up in the morning, there were people that were parked on Motherwell, and they were parked on the side towards the school. So it would still be the south side, but they would be parked in the westbound driving lane. And I'd say there was probably about 6 to 10 cars, but there was a lot of cars that were parked further back because the place where the student came out, where I said the driveway had like a panel van in it, and then also a vehicle, they were having a garage sale. So there was like quite a few vehicles that were around their house. But when we arrived, and this probably would have been an hour or so after the incident, is there was a bus that was parked in the place where you drive into the school on the west side, but there was nobody that was parked on Motherwell. They were just kind of close to that one house that was having the garage sale, which was beside the area where the student came out on his bike.
So I think some of it too is because White City ended up putting in almost like speed bumps for that walking path later that weekend. And then somebody had sent me pictures, and that van parked at the end of the driveway, it just obstructs everybody's view, period. And I mean, it's private property, but that van was, you know, at the end of the driveway. So, you know, there is an obstruction of view there, period, whether it was a garage sale or not a garage sale. If the cars are parked there, if the kids aren't paying attention, it's unfortunately a dangerous area. Hopefully they put up some crosswalks and stuff. I was told they were going to put a gate up too, but you know, the flashing lights that we have over here on South Plains would be very helpful for the kids to get across there too, but it's just kind of a nasty area.
So just more, sorry, you were going to say something?
Did you want me to comment on that?
So it was just my observation after talking to some people that live there and were around it. And then they sent me pictures later that night and over the weekend of just where the vehicles parked. It's just not a great view for kids to be crossing.
So this, I think, is, what is it, the fourth year that the RM has been sort of hosting, for lack of a better word, the community garage sale. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago that we had the two CSO groups working together to better manage the traffic flow because of kind of the people parking wherever and that kind of thing. I guess I'm curious. I've heard that Keegan is not a fan of the weekend, and is like, okay, ready to book out next time around. But I'd like to understand from your perspective as a CSO, what should we be doing differently? Like, we've had this incident happen with regards to the child, but there's all sorts of traffic issues that happen. And the reason that I had asked initially for the CSOs to work together was because of ensuring that we had emergency vehicle access into the community because of how people were parking. But then a lot of people are coming from outside of the community. So what would you suggest the two municipalities do to improve the situation?
Okay, so I might give my response as a retired police officer as opposed to a CSO, because I'm going to be very politically correct in saying this as well. There's a lot of issues when it comes to this garage sale weekend. And I have experienced it myself personally because I live on Woods Crescent. So, and I had my own incidents this past weekend as well. But apart from that, the thing is, the issue that we run into is that the majority of people that are coming out for these garage sale weekends are not residents from this area. They are residents from Regina. There was residents from the rural areas that aren't necessarily a part of the RM. They're coming in. And there are a variety of ages of people that are coming in. So you have younger people coming in, you also have elderly people, and then, you know, whoever's got the day off. And some people really enjoy doing garage selling. It's a great community event. I will definitely say that. And it's a good opportunity for people, you know, some of the elderly residents, like, you see them sitting out there in their driveways, they're talking to people, you're having that social interaction. That's the positive thing about it. And the thing is that we're promoting recycling and reusing and stuff like that. Like, we're, you know, it's just, there's things, good things that come out of it. But the negative things really like focus on the traffic issues that we have. And it's not necessarily people that are speeding. The traffic issues is the congestion that we run into and the chokeholds that end up happening just because people are parking on both sides of the street and then they're blocking driveways, which happened to both me and my neighbor. They kept blocking our driveways over the weekend. And the other part of it too is that we do put stuff out on social media, but if people aren't following the page, they're not necessarily going to get that information. And is there a possibility that if we do promote it, that we also promote, the parking side of it, if we can do it through maybe a Regina news station as well, or ask them to put something out? And I don't know if that is the case, because is that the case? I don't know who organizes this. I guess I'm asking one
So to
question.
date, it's been Lee sort of taking on the production of the maps and stuff like that, and the voyant alerts and socials and things like that. Nothing has gone through Regina as far as promoting it more broadly and sort of the rules that go with it. I don't know if we want to step into that. I'm wondering if it's notwithstanding the community, even if the RM wasn't involved, the community would still endeavor to have it. It's worth understanding what the RM's responsibility is in this, I guess.
I think it would be a bad idea to promote anything on the Regina News about it because we might draw more people. That would be my only thing. But I 100% agree with your observation about the congestion of the road and people can't getting out. Where I am, there wasn't very many people that had garage sales, so we were pretty good over there. But I know Woods Crescent was really bad. I even seen people waiting for like 10 minutes to try to even get out of there on South Plains Road because it was so busy. And it was also quite, I don't know if it was you, I'm not sure, but I seen our CSOs coming down Fairway, and that was really bad. And especially in that new area, there was people parked on both sides of the roads, and it was really bad over there too. I think White City has it worse though, because they're just the way that it's built. It's a lot more congested over there. It was nuts over there. But yeah, I personally feel like, and I don't know if how you feel about it, but I feel like if the RM is going to promote, I feel like we should just have it Friday and Saturday, not during school hours. I was out talking to a lot of ratepayers over the weekend, and it was general consensus among people that I talk to that live in the RM is they would rather just see it Friday and Saturday, not go the 4 days and over school hours. But I mean, we promote it, but like you said, Lee puts out, the only parking on one side of the street, and we try to put out the rules, but the people that are coming to the garage sale don't follow our page and they have no idea. The only other thing we could do is, put signs at the entrance of all of our entrances. But I think 4 days is too long to be promoting it. Not that we can stop anyone from having a garage sale, but I think we could get the community behind only 2 days versus the 4. So
I was one of the partakers of the garage sale. We went on Friday. I didn't actually know it was on Thursday. I talked to a few different people, and they had said that they had a fairly busy Thursday too. My question: did you guys issue any tickets?
Yes, I issued a parking ticket in White City. And I didn't work Saturday. I worked Thursday, and then we worked Friday because we were putting the signs out Thursday. So the majority of what the other 2 CSOs were doing is they were moving people, is what they were doing. They're going to vehicles, they're asking them not to park, even with the signage that was out there as well. So, but issuing a parking ticket, I don't think that that would be the solution, even though we did. And what I had meant with getting a hold of Regina Media was to not promote the community garage sale, but to tell people that be cognizant, don't block driveways, park in designated areas. That's how I would want to, because how else can we get that information out? Because we know the majority of the people are coming from that area as well. So that's the point that I was making with that. But also, the thing is that people are going to ignore signs. And how do you, I mean, Al, you've been through this with me going out to traffic accidents. You could be standing out there directing traffic and they want to go in this direction, even though everything is blocked off. And it's like, no, there is a damaged vehicle here. You cannot go this way. And yet they're still trying to drive around your accident scene. So, I mean, to get that information out there to people, to be, cognizant and aware of, we still want you to respect our rules of the road. We could do extra enforcement, but even with the vehicles that are parked there, you don't know who the owners are. You can try to run the plates, but the thing is that that person could be around the block on the other side going, and because they just park anywhere and they'll just walk the whole block and then eventually come back to their vehicle. Because the vehicle that I ticketed, it was probably sitting there for a good 20 minutes and nobody was around it, so it got ticketed. But the other thing too, with the investment is, do you get to a point where you start blocking off roads? And we had this discussion with Kagan, or the CSO from White City, about Emerald Ridge Drive there. I think that's the name of it. Because they were parking on both sides. And so again, you have this chokehold. You can't get your emergency equipment in. If you had to, trust me, the paramedics, the firefighters, they'd make their way in somehow, some way, and start towing vehicles. But you don't want that to happen. If we started barricading entrances and having people walk in from, and maybe, and the weather permitting, and the weather was really good this weekend, so maybe that was why quite a few people were out. That could be a solution, because Emerald Ridge Drive was terrible. And as long as somebody is posted where the barricade is to make sure it doesn't get moved. But this is where we may have to, do we ask for volunteers, for people to come out and help with it?
You can deputize me.
So my question, that's a good idea. So then the local people would just have the barricade moved for them to come in? Is that what you would? Yeah, that's actually not, especially for Woods Crescent and all those areas like that get so congested. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, like definitely White City. And I don't want to sound negative about the really big digital signs that White City had. But I had this discussion with a couple of the coworkers here, and there was 3 sets of messages that were on there. It said the garage sale, park on the even side, and then there was another message. And by the time that I had driven and went by the sign, all I saw was garage sale. I didn't see, I had to drive by about another 3 or 4 times just to read the whole message. It's good that they're there, but how about just one message on there? Like if they're concerned about the parking, this is where they park. But then also with the hand signs that we have, like the paper signs, I guess, that we put out, we did notice this year that a couple of people had moved them and took them out, rooted them out, and put them over on the other side. Did they do it as a joke? I'm not sure. So there's really no guarantees with that. And I guess the last thing that I could recommend is probably doing a better mapping of where, because we know which addresses are. And if we put it up on a map, then we can predict where the congested areas are going to be. And then we can focus our attention there. Because I don't think it's always the same people that are having the garage sales each year. Because I don't think anybody would have been able to predict that Emerald Ridge would have been so bad and so congested. So that would be something, is that, you know, you learn your lesson from this year. How can we do better for next year? And I mean, obviously the CSOs, we're all working together. We can come up with a plan to do that. So.
Yeah, so just to your point, Donna, and I want council to consider this, I think that it's what we should be doing is having a debrief with White City and coming up with a global plan. I think that there's a lot of great ideas here with regards to like barricading. We don't know what the impact of that is, because you barricade roads, those vehicles are going to have to park somewhere. So we know the volume of traffic. I think that there's a solution or some things that we can do administratively to plan for this differently for next year, knowing what we learned this year and understanding what we can control and what we can't. And then, of course, identifying the amount of resources that we need in order to enforce it. So I would just ask council to direct administration to take this back and come up with a plan with White City, working together. Because it may be, like, again, we don't know until, I'm not sure what the deadline is for garage sale weekend for registering on a map, but we don't know until people register when they're having a garage sale to even know where the problems are. The other problem is a lot of people don't even register their addresses. They just have a garage sale. So I think that it's great to have a debrief right now. I think it's hard to come up with all the solutions on the fly. I think that there's probably some good feedback that Keegan and the town probably has too. So if like the two administrations can work together and come up with a plan, would that sound acceptable to council?
That we direct our administration to contact White City administration to debrief and, you know, come up with a plan. And I also noticed on Fairway with all the roads, with the cars, the vehicles parked on both sides, I think it must have, I don't know, who was working with you this on Saturday? Do you know?
I wasn't working Saturday. It was Kagan and Ankit.
Okay, it must have been. Yeah, that's who it was, Anakin. Then, you know, all those vehicles he was kind of weaving through and driving through, but what do you even do? Nothing, because how do you even know who owns the vehicles? There was probably 20 vehicles parked on both sides of the road, and there's really nothing you can do. We were walking down there, and my husband was like, well, what are the CSOs? They can't even, you guys really couldn't even do anything. Because how do you find all those people? You can write a whole bunch of tickets, but yeah, there just has to be a better way.
Maybe have a tow truck sitting with lights flashing.
Now that's a good idea.
They move faster when you're hooking up to it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any more discussion on the motion?
I just got, maybe we're talking about the vehicles and everything, but I still think maybe we should get some information out to the schools, to the kids, that aren't they supposed to stop and walk across the side of a walkway with their bikes? I mean, he came, sounds like that. I'm not that I'm against anything, but the child ran through the crosswalk. They're supposed to walk. Obviously, they didn't look either. So we should go get some information to the school kids as well.
Yeah, 100%. So what we did last year is we have our safety week that comes up. So we go out to the elementary schools. And apparently they've been doing it every year. So for quite a while. I just did it last year. So we went to Pala Butte, went to Balgony, we went to Coal White City, Emerald Ridge, bike safety week, talk about helmets. We talk about stuff like that. It's coming up again. And we've done a couple of other presentations at Emerald Ridge in addition to just bike safety and ATV and stuff like that. And the principals are really good. Like, she's really good about that, getting the kids engaged. And I'll tell you an aside from it, and it's just all the kids knew about what happened by the end of the day, just because of their social media. Even the high school kids at Greenall heard about it. So it definitely spread like wildfire. So, and it's just, we keep telling our kids, just put a helmet on. Yes, stop. You are entering a crosswalk. And I see it all the time. Half the kids, if it's a flashing one, they'll push the button. Half the time they just, oh, okay, go. And they're just running. Because there's quite a few pedestrian crosswalks, not just here, but in Pilot Butte, Balgonie, that we monitor just for that. But we definitely will have that educational component put in there. But it has been happening too.
Another thing, maybe you find an old bike and run it over a few times and bring it in there with blood on it and say, this is what could happen to you. And just scare them a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
That wouldn't go over. No.
I
I think they do that with MAD. But
Thank God that the little guy was okay and everything. Could I don't know if there's anyone else, but I wondered if you could update us about the littering thing on 624.
Before we get to that, Tim, we have a motion on the floor. That's okay. So any more questions on the motion? The motion was to have the two administrations get together to do a debrief and work out some solutions for the parking issue in the garage sale weekend. So all in favor? Motion is carried. Hey, Tim, sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, the littering on 624.
okay, so I talked to, White Butte member on Wednesday, and he said that because it was reported to them that they drafted up a ticket, and what they're going to do, and it's out of our jurisdiction, we can't go into Regina. So they're the ones that took the initial complaint. They took the statement from the victim. So they drafted up a ticket. I think it was for about $1,500. We looked it up, and according to what we saw, it was $1,400. So either or, 14 or 1,500. He is going to try to track down the employee and issue them the ticket. I didn't get into details about just issuing the company the ticket, which probably would be the best option, because you may not be able to track down that employee, but the company should definitely get it. But I told him once the ticket was issued and to notify me that it was done. So.
And what I had heard that the company did pay just mins for the removal and cleanup. I had one construction fellow was saying that for 3,600 pounds of rubble like that, it would have probably been $500 to $600 at the nuisance ground to take that in. So, and he said that's part of the problem, that you get some of these fly-by-night places that are coding low on these jobs, and then they just go dump them wherever. So I really feel that we need to make an example of him, and I'm really glad that the RCMP is following up on it. So,
well, my experience too, I mean, I saw a lot of concrete in there. That you can dump that for free. So it's the wood and debris that you get charged for, not the concrete. But yeah, you do have to separate it. Yes.
I'm just going to add comment to that, because now that the snow is gone, I'm seeing a lot more of the littering that's on the side of the road. There was a abandoned barbecue that was dropped off just at the end of Park Meadows. It got picked up today, but just random things. And even like last summer, I'd be driving down a road, was down there yesterday, the next day, there's like an old broken dresser that's there. You know, even in our subdivisions, picking up like metal shelving that's just been discarded on the side of the road. And again, concrete. There's a lot of concrete type of material that's getting dumped. I don't know the history, how long this has been happening, but it's happening a lot. and it is not really all that far from like a populated area. It's not like it's just like way over, somewhere where there's not a house for about 2 miles. Like it's happening within hundreds of meters of people's addresses. So I definitely agree it is a problem.
Well, and I think if we make an example of this person, the word will get out. I was really impressed with Just Bins, the coverage that they did. They went out and picked everything up and stuff, had their drone out and everything, and I think that's perfect. And I think to convey it to our residents that if you see somebody dumping, take pictures of it. This young fellow that he drove past had seen him with the trailer up. He turned around and well, they headed out as soon as they seen him turn around, but he still got their license number, and yeah, kudos on him. It was great. And I think if we have more of our residents start doing that, it'll let the guys know, don't dump here because.
Yeah, I totally agree. Taking a community approach to it, and maybe that's something that we could put out on social media as well, is that if you see something that looks suspicious, report it. Because there was a vehicle that I was following yesterday, and it was a half-ton truck, and I thought for sure they were going to try to dump something out on the road, and then just as soon as they saw the marked unit, then they kind of left. So it's happening.
Okay, thank you very much, Donna, for the presentation. It's good. To adjourn for lunch, or to recess for lunch, sorry.
I'll make a motion we recess for lunch.
All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll call the meeting back to order. And we're down to committee reports. And so, Carmen, do you have anything?
Since our last meeting, no.
No, and Stan, I know you don't have any because we haven't had a meeting. Okay.
Human Resource had a meeting. We didn't finalize anything, so nothing's come to council yet. We're working on the indemnity policy right now, but nothing to bring to council yet. So,
okay,
that's it.
Thank you. Stephen, asset management, anything?
No, nothing at this time.
Tim?
What date our next EMO meeting is? Again, we want to try to discuss all the different things that we had at the mass disaster thing, or what you want to call it. Again, I can't find it, so it's coming up pretty quick here anyway. So oh, here it is here. Tara just said that May 14th. That's not right. Oh yeah, wait a minute. May 14th. Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. May 14th. So yeah, it's we're gonna try to discuss some of our downfalls, some things that we did right and everything with it, and yeah, again, it was a good experience, and I had take back some of the comments that were made last meeting about it and stuff too. So yeah, that should do it.
Roundtable. Two things, I guess. Okay, well, they can catch up. There's two things. Just the former mayor of White City is with the White City Library doing a bike maintenance workshop for May 9th at 1:30. And it seemed kind of timely given the sort of the bike anyways, thought it was interesting. And then we're working with the 3 different libraries, White City, Pilot Butte, and Balgony, to bring Chris Chittick into White City. We did that last year, bringing him to Pilot Butte, very well attended. And then we have a White City Library Board meeting tonight. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Stan?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Nicole?
I guess the only thing is this wasn't this is just my counselor, not committee, but just my counselor. When we were at McLeod on McLeod Road yesterday, all that garbage in the ditch. Maybe we can address that. There was a big slab of plywood and there's lots of garbage. It was pretty bad over there.
Yeah, we're going to be, I mean, we're going to be underway on garbage pickup now. So unless it's like one big piece, we'll just be working our way kind of from Tim Hortons area, kind of east along South Plains and then into that area. But yeah, I'll make a note of that and I'll pass that note along.
And I noticed, Carmen, you mentioned Chris, the storm chaser. He's really good. If you guys haven't heard him speak before, I had brought him in jointly with Aspen Links a couple of years ago when he first sent out his email. He's really good. And actually, Tim, I gave him as a recommendation to SEPA because he would be very beneficial, because not only does he just talk about storms and tell stories, he actually talks about what to do if you're in a provincial park and you find yourself in a tornado. He just really, the educational piece around storms is valuable. And I think everybody should, if you camp or you're out and about, he's actually really good.
One of the first SEPA conventions I went to, they had a storm chaser there too. It wasn't him.
Yeah.
They had one there.
I was there too, but he didn't give a lot of education. He just kind of told more stories.
Yeah, he was. And I was just going to make note too with garbage. Last meeting, I noticed I think we had a total of almost $1,800 in garbage charges that were all added up for. And I just wondered if that was majority of garbage picked up by our employees, to haul to the dump and everything. Then the cost of these guys dumping and is going to be a heck of a lot more for what we're paying for our employees to do it and everything, and too, plus all the charges that the dump charges then too.
I'll maybe ask Clark to follow up on that, but I don't believe that was from like ditch cleaning up. I know that they were doing a major clean out of the urban shop and making some more room, so that could have been a portion of that as well.
Cool. Was there anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Karen?
I had a ratepayer reach out to me from Mission, and I know we've discussed this before. So, and she said that at the entrance of Spruce Creek, they've got children at play signs, and we've discussed these before. What are we doing about those? I know the ratepayer has to pay for them, right? Which I told her. Do we get them made and then charge the ratepayer?
I believe that's a process. Like they make formal request to the RM. It's
okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, we'll typically get the signs, put them in ourselves, and then just charge it out.
Yeah, they just want them at the two entrances, I guess. But I did tell her yesterday that it would be the ratepayers who would bear that bill. But I didn't know if we had them made or if they got their own made. So I'll tell them to reach out. Okay, thanks. That's it.
Thank you. Stephen?
No, I'm all good. We talked about ours there throughout with the dirt roads and stuff. So.
Okay, Tim?
Okay. Speaking about the shingle stretch going down 624, I don't really want to wait for the asset management committee to bring it back, and because I think that it's going to get lost in the shuffle. So I would like to make a motion that we direct administration to proceed with extending the shingle site on 624 to Creek Road and to use the dust control funds collected from the affected residents to partially pay for this product.
Discussion on the motion.
Would that include that other test site, Tim?
Yes, and also in front of Dave Farden's
It's
to
in that other test site.
redo that because we had actually had damaged that.
We
to begin
actually
with.
damaged them.
Yes, so that should be on the list too to get that done.
So in total, how many, what's the distance? The length that we would be doing? I've just ballpark, I guess. 2 months, right? It was just, yeah, okay, that's close enough. Okay.
So just so we're clear on the motion, I just want to make sure we have this. Do you have it? Okay, well, I'll read out what I have. That administration be directed to extend the asphalt shingle dust suppressant application on grid 624 north to Creek Road.
Is that it, Tim?
And was there, we don't need, like, we already have the other repairs on our to-do list, Clark, correct? Okay. And that doesn't, we can do that in concert with this as well. Thanks.
Sorry, and there was something about the fee collection. What did you have in there, Tim?
To use the dust control funds collected from the affected residences to partially pay for that product. Because a lot of the ratepayers have put their applications in already, and that money should go towards the funds, the dust or shingle funds going to it.
Discussion on the motion?
I
You have
think
it, Karen?
I think it was 1.8 and 20K is what your estimate was when you brought it to Rod that day, I think, Tim. I got 1.8 written.
Okay, see no further discussion on the topic. We'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Anything else, Tim? Darren?
Are we on committee reports or round table? Sorry. Oh, no, I don't. I was out of town on the last committee, so I'm sure that Clark probably filled you guys all in. Well, you're on the committee too, so. So I guess I just have one thing for the round table. I just want to bring back up, you said that the conflict of interest was voted down.
No, I didn't say that. I said it was declined.
It was declined. And why was it declined?
The person, you can't tell somebody that they have a conflict of interest. It's up for each counselor to decide on their own whether or not they have a conflict of interest.
Okay.
So nobody can tell you or me or anybody that you have a conflict. That's something that you have to self-declare.
Okay. And so whether or not there's a conflict or not, if I just say I'm not in conflict of it, that's it, it's over then?
Well, somebody could bring a conflict of interest
Well, I guess I'm looking at it, the ratepayers say it's a conflict of interest and the developer says it's a conflict of interest, but just because she says it's not a conflict of interest, it's not?
No, you can't, like I said, you can't tell somebody to declare it. It's up to an individual counselor or myself to declare.
Okay.
Okay. Clark, I have one question for you. This pipe that's being laid out here, is that part of the sewer line installation? This black 4-inch pipe that's laid out on the side of the road here?
Going down Hutchence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was used or is to be used for to divert the flow from the lift station when they go and complete those tie-ins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing anything down Hutchence in terms of installation. That's just temporary diversion.
Okay, thank you. Okay. But that's it for roundtable. Pardon me? I have nothing other than I want to keep staying here till 5. So nothing for me. So motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?